It's my pleasure to introduce Duck Cavey. Duck, great to see you again. How are things? And thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having us, Kai. Much appreciated. Hard work by yourself and Nancy and Lindsay putting this together, and really appreciate the opportunity to talk about Defiance and what's been going on with us for the past year, the past 18 months. And let me just pull this up so you can all see this. And so we'll be making some forward-looking statements, so I've just got to caution you about that. Here's our disclaimer, and you can go and find that on the website and anything that we produce here. Defiance Silver is a Mexican-focused development and exploration and development company. We trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange Venture, DEF. We are we've been around for some time in Mexico. The company was founded in about 2011, really started aggressively exploring the Zacatecas deposit in about 2014. And we've, in 2018, acquired the Tepal asset, which is a large bulk tonnage gold deposit that really changed the shape and form of the company. But in the past 12 months, we've been extremely active. September 2020, we completed a financing, raised $10 million, actually went out looking for $7 million, green shoe filled, $3 million oversubscribed. And we've been trading around, the 72 cent range for the last, call it month or so, about $130 million market cap, about 193 million shares out, about 35 million warrants. Some of them are in the money, coming in the money in the springtime. Last fall, we had about $3 million come in from the warrant exercise. So that worked out. We closed the year 2020 with about $10 million in cash in the bank. So really good, well-funded company right now, fully funded for our work in 2021, about the next 12 months of work moving forward. So we'll talk a bit about what that looks like. Our ownership is quite tight with 35% institutionally held. It's about 25% held by Windermere Capital, and the remaining about 8 new institutions that came in on the last financing, and about 5% management insiders. So very, very well and very tightly held with a lot of shareholder support. As I said, we're a Mexican-focused exploration and development company. We have 2 projects: the Zacatecas project, which is located in Zacatecas State, about the geographic center of Mexico, and the Tepal project, which is located in Michoacan. One's about 4.5 hours north of Guadalajara, and one's about 4.5 hours southwest of Guadalajara. Guadalajara is the 2nd largest city in Mexico, so really great infrastructure, really great accessibility for these projects. Zacatecas and Michoacan projects are very different in their size and history, but are both advanced assets. The Zacatecas Silver project, it's got a small starter resource, but about a 450-year history of mining. It was discovered in the mid-1500s and has been in some way, shape, or form of production since then. It's located in a very active belt of exploration and development. And the Tepal project was discovered in the 1960s, and it's got a large 1.8 million ounce measured and indicated 813 million pound copper resource as defined by a PFS in 2012 and a PEA in 2013. The Zacatecas district projects are located just outside of the town of Zacatecas. In fact, I'm sitting in Zacatecas right now. We're about 6 kilometers away from the city center. It's a very well-known belt of mineralization. It's a prolific district to look for and discover and build mines over 1 billion ounces of silver in this camp. And we're right next door to the 8 billion ounce Fresnillo silver camp, which is the world's largest primary silver mine. Zacatecas State is the largest silver producing state in Mexico. Last year accounted for over 45% of the silver production. I think globally accounts for about 17% of the world silver production. So it is a great, and you want to go look for where is the silver in the ground. This is where the silver is in the ground. We have an option to acquire 100% ownership of the Zacatecas project. We have an option to acquire 100% ownership of the Lucita project. And we outright own the Los Lagartos assets through a purchase agreement with Mag Silver. Our initial resource is 16.9 million ounces of silver. And that was done on 10,000 meters of drilling prior to Defiance Silver's involvement in the project. And that's important because we've completed about 6,000 meters of drilling since then. And we do see the opportunity to increase the mineral envelope and the resource envelope of the project. As I mentioned, there's excellent infrastructure. This is a mining city, this is a mining state, this is a city built on silver mining. You can drive on a paved road to the project, there's power on site. I'll show you an excellent photo later on in the presentation. And it's a under development area. The Cozumel mine is about 4 kilometers away from us, in between us and the town of Zacatecas. That's a 6,000 ton per day underground operation. So still a lot of legs in this camp, and a lot ongoing. And that's been a very prolific discovery for Capstone mining. We like to think of this project as Fresnillo in the 1960s. As I said, this is a similar project, similar location. Fresnillo is about 35 kilometers away from us. In the 1960s, Fresnillo was out of ore. It's currently the world's largest primary silver producer. And they went back and focused on exploration and surface geochemistry, surface soils, drilling, and they locked into the Santo Nino structure. And that kicked off 40 plus years of prolific exploration and development, most recently anchored by the discoveries of the Juanicipio joint venture done by Mag Silver, and now under production by, or under development in a joint venture with Mag Silver and Fresnillo. So we know that this discovery-focused geoscience works. Proof of concept is Capstone mining at the Cozumel mine in the Malanoche footwall. So last year we went and really focused on this asset. It's very similar to a lot of Mexican camps where you have a very long, prolific development history. There is significant underground infrastructure and surface infrastructure on the project, underground workings, but nobody had done and conducted really any detailed exploration and really basic exploration, surface geology, surface mapping, surface geochemistry. And we're happy to say we've completed a lot of that, done a large scale campaign of mapping and geology, which is and geochemistry, which is ongoing. But what we did was integrate all of the historic data and begin to build 3D models. And what we noticed is that there's a significant amount of mineralization located outside of the principal Veta Grande structure in parallel and hanging wall events, and what we think are buried multiple mineral systems at depth. So as I said, we have excellent infrastructure on the project. This is one of our pass holes. You can see you've got a power line right there. It's over top of an existing, beside an existing open pit. And that's in this this map that shows our proposed drill holes for our fully funded program. We won't get to all of these holes in the program, but where we have our proposed drill holes. And we're drilling in that area called the HW veins, the hanging wall veins. And that's where you see that drill sitting right there. So excellent infrastructure. You can see there's roads, there's power, there's existing surface infrastructure, surface mining infrastructure. So it's a great place to be drilling and targeting some of these concepts and targets. So in the 1960s, Fresnillo, they were out of ore and they began this program of exploration. And in fact, they were at the Veta Grande, which is a historical producer. The Veta Grande vein itself has produced over 150 million ounces of silver. Maybe about 60% of that has come from our asset. In 1975, they discovered the Santo Nino vein, which turned the lights back on of the operation. And it was 3 meters of about 1,000 grams silver, 1.6 grams gold, and 1% combined lead zinc. So when we began our modeling program, what we noticed is there's a number of large structures that we've mapped on the property, very similar structures that look to be controlling structures for mineralization over at the Capstone's Cozumel mine. And they are weakly mineralized at surface, and we put some tests into them as well. The other thing that we noticed, and maybe the most important thing that we've noticed, is that some of the highest grade mineralization, if not the highest grade mineralization on the property, is located in hanging wall structures parallel to the Veta Grande. And those grade up to 3,000 grams silver, 4.5% combined lead zinc, and 0.5 gram gold. And in a mineralization style that's different than what we see in the Veta Grande. So we know that this camp has this and demonstrated this multiple pulses of mineralization or multiple mineral events. And currently, as I said, we have the drill in this area, and we like what we're seeing. But the other takeaway from the historical drilling, and as I mentioned, there's about 5,000 or about 6,000 meters of drilling that's been done since the resource estimate, is that the vein, the principal Veta Grande structure, has been demonstrated to have a vertical profile about 200 meters below the current resource level. That's important because at Capstone, our closest neighbor and one of our better analogies of the camp, they have an over 1,000 meter profile of vertical profile of mineralization. So we know that these systems, they run deep and they have a large vertical profile of mineralization. So we have a number of deep targets that we intend to test over the next 12 months here. One of the other things, and as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of evidence of these blind veins or multiple mineral events and systems overprinting. And we're seeing it is where we're getting really high grade mineralization overprinting what was, different phases of different types of mineral structures. So really high grade, up to 700 grams per ton primary silver veins outside of the Veta Grande structure, along strike, but south of where we're seeing these multiple or these hanging wall veins up in the northwestern part of the property. So just a lot of evidence of multiple systems, and we do have a drill hole into this area as well, and we'll begin to follow up with more drilling. One of the takeaways from the 2017 drill program, while there were some successful drill holes, the high impact holes missed their target depth. They missed the vertical profile and they missed the vertical projection of, or the down dip projection of the principal Veta Grande structure, where the historical miners were into very wide, high-grade mineralization that's up to 20-meter wide stopes that are backfilled with 200 gram per ton material. So we know that the cutoff grade was about 200 grams per ton, which today is a nice mine grade. And the 2017 holes did not hit that target depth. So we have an excellent operating partnership with Major Drilling on our property. They brought a drill onto site that we've been very impressed with. And we, of course, intend to test these deep targets. As I said, we haven't got below about 250, maybe 400 meters at most into this system. And our neighbors are down over 1,000 meters with very strong mineralization. So we do like that proof of concept. In 2019, we charted a course that we saw the necessity to build as much of a district scale footprint of mineral tenure in the camp as possible, or mineral licenses in the camp as possible. Previously, we had been involved in a joint venture with Pan American Silver on another property in Durango State. And we had targeted based on a database that we have in the district. It's about 135,000 hectare or 1,300 square kilometer database that we targeted and saw some interesting drill results, about up to almost 1,000 grams per ton silver on licenses adjacent to what we think is one of the best targets in this district. So in March 2020, we began negotiations, and 8 months later, we signed a transaction that tripled our land position in the historic Zacatecas district. It's an option to acquire 100%. Pan American Silver is retaining a 2% NSR on this asset. And like I said, it put together about a quarter of the historic district, and we're now the second largest landholder in the Zacatecas camp. So it has a number of great targets. It has the on-strike extension of the Panuco deposit, which is currently being advanced by a team with Zacatecas Silver. We have an exploration program planned to define and advance the understanding of that deposit. We have the drilled on-strike extension of that, a number of really nice intercepts. But what we really targeted this project for is what is known as the Palanquin Structure. And we think this Palanquin Structure is our key to unlocking what we see as the potential of being a 100 million ounce silver camp in Zacatecas. The Palanquin Structure is a 4-kilometer long, 12-meter wide, up to 700 gram per ton silver structure that's never been drilled. It's located about 1 kilometer away from the historic tailings at some of the historic Veta Grande mine. And we haven't seen any evidence of there being historic drilling, but it's very well mineralized structure moving through this camp. So we plan to aggressively advance this project. So as I said, we've got this drill program underway, and 5,000 meters, fully funded up to 10,000 meters. We're halfway through the first phase of the drilling, and we'll keep moving that forward. But the real sweet thing is that we'll have a pretty continuous flow of information coming out once we get this first set of drill results out. We expect that catalyst to be second half of March or early April. I know Kai's about to ask me to wrap up here. I didn't get a chance to get into the Tepal project, but it's an interesting asset here. We like this. It's a 1.8 million ounce measured and indicated gold resource, 812 million pound copper. Really sweet thing about this asset is that it is a low capex, $214 million initial capex, $169 million post-tax NPV. At every $250 gold price increases, the NPV of the project increases $100 million. So $1,500 gold, $3 copper, it's a $345 million capex. So we like the optionality on this asset. It's got a large oxide gold heap leach component to it. We're currently doing a lot of the heavy lifting with behind the scenes work, desktop targeting, surface targeting on this asset. We see it as a 100,000 ounce per year, 10-year producer. And $396 per ounce, lowest, lower quartile cash cost producer on this project. And with a lot of upside to the exploration.
Doug, I got to stop you right there. We're going to keep running. We're going to keep running late. I really, really appreciate you running us through this. And I know everything is available on the website, defiancesilver.com. And please make use of the chat question function as well. We got a couple of questions already in the chat for you to answer, because I know Chris and Sherry are also in the panel, or on the panel here as well. So really appreciate you presenting, Doug. Sorry, I apologize for having to cut you off.
No problem, Kai.
It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning. It was really insightful. I hope everybody got something out of it.